Hi all, this is Skate, and this is the ISU-152. And my god, what a machine. Now, I haven't played my 152 in a long time. Not because I think it's a bad tank, purely because you end up playing so many different tanks, going through so many new lines, blah 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 blah. Some get left behind. How and why I ever let this thing get left behind, I don't know. But the ISU-130 came out. I was playing it to make a review, and then I thought, I haven't played my 152 in ages, I'm gonna go play that. So while I was reviewing the 130, I died in one of the games. While I was waiting, I thought, I'll go play that 152 now. And I kind of didn't go back to the 130, because, my god, it's just epic. I mean, naturally, this is all about one thing, and that one thing is absolutely glorious, and that is the gun. So in my head, although the 130 does have a very nice and very fun gun, it just can't compare to this, and for the 15,000 gold, I'd rather this every single day of the week. I mean, for starters, 286mm of penetration at tier 8. And with its 640 alpha, it's just amazing, and you get a lot of ammo racks with this gun. It's quite surprising, actually. I forgot just how many ammo racks you can get. And then, of course, there's the HE. You know what's coming. It's not uncommon to do this either, and you feel you feel a little bit wrong, but you smirk non-stop for it. And that is something you can never, ever, ever do or replicate with the 130. I mean, I'm 2 shots into the game. I've done 1,660 damage, deleted one tank, and now I'm chasing an IS-3. Granted, I'm going to take a shot for it, but I'm going to take him out, and that's 2,162 damage in 3 shots. Problem I've got now is there are 2 Tiger Ps down there. And in the situation I'm in, ideally, I need to be the one to address them. So, I'm going to get myself up here, act and pretend as if I am running away, and I'm going to position myself behind this IS-3. And I'm going to wait until the first one comes around the corner, and I'm going to pop him one in the side. I don't need to pop him another one in the side, though, because ammo rack. And again, just like the massive HE rolls, it's not uncommon for that to happen. So of course, with that massive alpha, a lot of people expect huge reloads and very low damage per minute. But you've only got like a 12-second reload, and you've got 3,100 plus damage per minute. You've got a faster reload on this than you do on an Object 268. You've got 6 degrees of gun depression, that crazy damage per minute. For that crazy pen, that crazy alpha, 90mm of pen on the HE with 960 alpha. The penetration is that good. For 90% of the tanks you point at, you don't need to aim at the weak spots. You aim center mass for pretty much every single tank you come at. And that, in my opinion, is massive. Because in tier 8, with that much penetration, the 0.37 gun dispersion on this tank doesn't really matter, because you're aiming center mass for pretty much everything you're pointing at. You don't really need to worry. As long as the tank is within the reticule, you're probably going to penetrate. So the 0.37 gun dispersion, in my opinion, it's irrelevant. And then you've got the premium ammo. 319mm of penetration. Truth be told, I only carry 2, and you just don't need them. Carry them as an absolute bare essential precautionary. You may be desperate and not have the opportunity to aim at, say, possibly the weak spot on an ST1, which is probably one of the only few tanks you will need to aim at the weak spot on. Possibly things like the E75, a couple of tier 9 heavies, basically. Aside from that, you're going center mass on everything, which means every single shot is going to make magic happen. But then the other thing is, because you don't really ever need that poor tier 6, Because you don't ever need to use the premium ammunition, it's not bad in terms of making credits for a tech tree tank. And if you plan on driving this thing a lot, it may be worth treating yourself to the skin which is available for it, and thus make more per battle. In theory, you could make a lot more, because you could enrich this thing for less than you would actually spend on an ISU-130, and because of that gun, it's better. Now, if you want my honest opinion, and it is my opinion, but the ISU-152's gun, that BL-10, is flat out, undisputed, the most OP gun available on any tank in Tier 8. That is my honest opinion. However, what balances this tank is the hull. Now, the hull is not the greatest. In fact, you have the lowest hit point pool of any Tier 8 tank destroyer, and you've got minimal armor all the way around it. In fact, I can penetrate the lower plate on ISU-152 with the HE of another ISU-152. In other words, you can one-shot an ISU-152 with an ISU-152. Now, in terms of figures, you've got 90mm on the front, 90 on the side, and 60 on the rear. Obviously, if you're going to put the enhanced armor on, 94, 94, 62, which is better than the 130s. The 130 has 75mm on the side. What that means is you can angle this a little bit in an attempt to give people the side of your tank to bounce, and you will get some lucky bounces based on angling that. Aside from that, you're only going to get bounces off the gun mantlet. However, you want to drive this thing with the absolute assumption that whatever is going to shoot at you is going to penetrate you. That's the logic you have to apply playing this thing. If you apply that logic to this, and remember that you have a very, very low hit point pool, and you have very little armor. But if you apply that logic, you're going to try and constantly provide cover between your shots unless you know for a fact you're going to deal with it first. And you're going to constantly keep yourself next to rocks or buildings that you reverse around and let them chase you, because at the end of the day, 12 seconds isn't a huge reload, but it's enough for some tanks to get numerous shots into you. So with that in mind, give yourself a rock or something like that to reverse around while you're shooting. That way, when they come chasing you, you'll hopefully be ready loaded to put another huge 640 alpha shot in their faces. Example in chat then, even that tank who I just killed was shocked by the reload on this thing. Actually, it's such a simple trick, but I have to comment it. An example I believe is in the next game. If someone's coming at you after you've just fired a shell, and you know you're about to be reloaded, don't come back around the corner after them. Pretend like you're still on a reload and keep reversing. They'll just come out rushing sideways in front of you. It works all the time. Because even though, or you could be very familiar with this tank, you don't count the 12 seconds in your head. And a lot of people forget. And they come rushing you going, ISU has a really long reload. 12 seconds isn't really that long. So if you pretend that you're still on a reload, so you keep reversing, so they keep chasing you, they're going to come out and give you that really easy shot. And hopefully, because you're lined up ready, waiting for them to come around the corner while still reversing, you're not going to take a shot in return. This may sound like a silly thing to do, or this may sound like a glaringly obvious thing to do, but when your tank has well, let's just call it an appalling level of hit points, you need to do every single possible little thing you can to keep your tank alive. And you need to do every possible thing you can to keep your gun in the game. Which means avoiding as much shots as you can. Or if you can't avoid the shot, at least make sure you're trying to do a very fair trade. For example, Type 61 over there. If I could put a huge HE shell into him, I would quite happily sacrifice 300 hit points for that. And it's a Type 61. You can see I've got my HE at the ready because I just want to go derp this guy in the face. because he's damaged my gun, but yet we still managed to put over 1,000 straight into the side of him. As long as we aim above the tracks on so many tanks, 90mm will penetrate the side with no issues. Even tanks with the smallest amount of area without tracks showing. For example, I've shown it in numerous videos actually. T-29. The tracks look like they cover virtually the entire side of the tank, but they don't. There's a gap just above it, the same on the Pershings, things like that. You can launch a HE shell straight into that and do full rolls. Now that E-75 trade, by the way, probably not a good trade on my behalf there. Yes, I took 640 average off him, but his shell is, what, just less than half of my hit points. Ah, check this shot out. 0.37 accuracy. No, it's not. It's Russian. But yeah, back to the E-75 quickly. It can take nearly half my hit points in one shot. If he gets a high roll, he's going to take half my hit points. That's a big deal for a tank like this, which is why you need to make every single shot count like this. HE in the side of the turret. Now, you've seen in some games on this video, I've played this thing long range. Other games, like this, for example, I'm going to come out, put one into that guy, and now the other guy is starting to chase me, so I want to get back into cover. Except, I'm going to do exactly what I said earlier, I'm going to keep running away as if I'm still on a reload. So he's going to come out in front of me, giving me the shot without me taking a shot from him. We all know the reloads on these tanks because we've all played them, but yet when someone is still reversing away from you, you naturally just go, I'm going in for that one. You just think he's vulnerable. It's surprising how often, it's quite funny actually, but it's surprising how often it happens. Oh yeah, back to positioning, because I keep going off on tangents. What I try to do is either play the long range game for the first minute or so, just so I can get some damage in, help my team, soften them up, which is really easy to soften up when you punch in 640 holes. And then I will try and go in and be second line, or at least give myself some form of cover. So if I do pull a shot, I can get back into cover, hopefully without getting a shot back. And that is exactly what the problem with this tank is. Its gun is just so OP, but its hull is just so fragile. And I've had games where I have literally got one shot off, and then because I didn't give myself enough cover, I got obliterated. And if you don't give yourself the cover, and you don't play the medium to long range game, you are going to be such an easy target, and that will be an irregular occurrence at that point for you to just get one, maybe two shots off. The trick, I think, with this is just trying to keep the gun in the game. But, as we know, sometimes the medium to long range game is either A, not possible, or B, can be a bit boring sometimes, or C, you just want to go a little bit YOLO. Which is when you come in with the mediums or with the heavies, whatever you're with, and start making big holes and softening targets up for your team. That M10 would have lasted a lot longer if we didn't make a big 700 hole in the side of him. Like now, I noticed the T-29 is distracted, I've got a HE at the ready, and I'm going above the track for a 900 plus damage roll. Now in this circumstance, if I was sat at the back, I'm quite confident my team still would have dressed those two, but they would have lost more hit points, and it would have taken longer. And then the other thing to use to your advantage is fear factor. Remember, if there is an ISU-152 just sitting there loaded, you're not going to poke the corner, you're going to wait. And that means you're certainly not going to push on people. Hang on. This is another one. Again, it's not uncommon. And ammo racks bring joy to everybody, including your team players, because obviously it helps them towards a battle and towards the win. Yeah, sorry, fear factor. Damn it, I've gone off on a lot of tangents in this video. If you're, say for example, right next to a building and your mediums are outnumbered by, say, 3 to 2 or 2 to 1, you're not really going to go poke in that corner on those mediums when you know something can take half your hit points. Because it doesn't matter if you're even in a drac, you're going to get balanced very, very quickly by the ISU-152's gun. So positioning is very important, because you need to keep your gun in the game, but you also need to make sure you don't go head first to the point where you just lose all your hit points. And then one other thing I haven't mentioned, I have no idea why I forgot it or how I forgot it, is the camo on this thing. Now, as soon as you fire that great big dirty gun, you have no camo whatsoever. But with a 12-second reload, that gives you a perfect amount of time to reverse back into cover, and then come back out of cover, and be completely unspotted again, allowing you to punch out another 640 Alpha shot. All in all, it's not a very good hull, and it looks like a robot when you look at it directly above. See, you've got the two hatches as the eyes, the lines, and then the arms as... Never mind, I'm going to shut up now. But it does look like a robot. But yeah, it's a bad robot with a monster gun, and it is just all about that thing. If you haven't played an ISU-152, go and get one right now. Or if you're a veteran and you already played through it at some point in the past, go get it again. Do what I did. You'll be surprised just how much fun it is to play again. I've always thought of it as a good tank, but I forgot just how good that gun was. Anyway, that's it for this video. I've kind of gone on a lot of tangents in this video, but just get an ISU-152. It's amazing. Thank you all for watching, though. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.